So for the past 2 years, Sean Strickland has been more headline than hammer, more controversy than contender. But Saturday night, guys, last Saturday night in Houston in front of close to 18,000 people, Sean Strickland reminded everybody and anybody who paid attention to who he exactly is. And more importantly, why he's still a problem at 185 pounds. Now let's talk about it, guys, and what his win over Anthony Fluffy Hernandez means. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Duality 7X. I'm your host, Shiraz. If you guys are here for the first time, fantastic. Welcome to Duality 7X. And if you guys are here and you guys know the drill, then please smash the like and subscribe and hit the notifications so you guys never miss a beat. Re-break down anything and everything that's trending in the world of combat sports, the world of sports entertainment. And we're happy to be here, guys. Happy to provide you with this content. So let's get right into it, guys. There's been a lot of controversy leading up to this fight between Sean Strickland and Anthony Hernandez. Now, since losing the UFC middleweight champion, I think it was like 2 years ago, Sean's reputation has kind of shifted. All right. There's a lot of social media posts on Sean Strickland, a lot of controversy. Lots of provocations, lots of things that make a lot of people feel quite uncomfortable with the things he has to say, the things he kind of believes in, the things his ideologies is. Look, a person has every right to believe and feel the way they feel, believe in what they want to believe in. But sometimes, Sean's the kind of guy that he'll tell you right to your face how he thinks, what he feels, which is a good thing. But sometimes he could say things that are very hurtful to a lot of people. And anyhow, some of that kind of stuff has kind of got Sean in a little bit of trouble, and has made him kind of an unlikable guy. But Sean did some very interesting things during this fight against Anthony Hernandez, things that made a lot of people not like Sean, like how he tried to dress up as a law enforcement officer for ICE, or posing as ICE, and arresting his would-be opponent, Anthony Hernandez, who is of Mexican heritage, and Anthony in the Instagram picture is in Mexican attire. So it kind of alludes to a very uncomfortable story that's been playing out in U.S. politics. So a lot of people weren't cool with that, but then Sean did some very interesting things at the end of the fight that made him a likable guy, right? So now, anyhow, his fight that he had 2 years ago after losing the middleweight championship, he was quite a flat performance. He had a failed title bid against DDP, Dricus du Plessis, back in February of last year. And then just, over a year away from the cage, people started to have doubt about Sean. People started to have real questions, So Saturday night, UFC Houston fight night, guys, a lot of those questions were answered. And emphatically speaking, because Sean won in a very decisive manner. It was almost one-sided. And look, Sean's now he's 30-7, and he stopped Anthony Hernandez in round number 3, guys. Round number 3, snapping. Get this, guys. He snapped Hernandez's 8-fight win streak, reestablishing himself back into title contention, back into the middleweight division title contention. And if there's any doubters, any haters, anybody who thinks this man is not mentally or even physically capable of being able to handle himself in the octagon, has to reevaluate themselves and rethink what they're saying, because Sean definitely proved to all the naysayers out there that he's here and he's here to stay. And he had some very interesting call-outs, which I'll get to here at the end of this video. But guys, the finish only tells part of the story. By taking out his opponent, Anthony Hernandez, in round number 3 is, I mean, if people were betting on this fight, there was probably a lot of people who bet against Sean and lost, because the things that Anthony was saying, he was saying things along the likes like, actually, I don't want to take out Sean Strickland in the first round. I don't want to knock this guy out. I want to torture this guy for 5 rounds, for 5-minute rounds, about a total of 25 minutes, because he wanted to punish Sean Strickland for a lot of the insensitive comments that were made towards him by Sean, and just by Sean's antics as of late. So Anthony was out there trying to reassure everybody that he's got this. And he's not going to take out, because he was the odds-on favorite going into this fight. But he didn't want to take out Sean in that way. He wanted to methodically kind of break him down, just kind of minute by minute in that octagon. So that was interesting. But Sean flipped the script. And that's classic Strickland, because he had his high guard, he had that constant jab, forward pressure, relentless pace, and that's what Sean is known about, guys. For 10 minutes straight, he controlled Hernandez with like that surgical, precision, style boxing, which everyone's come to love about Sean. His striking capabilities are amazing. His takedown defenses are just as amazing, because he stonewalled Anthony Hernandez many times, preventing him from being able to take him down. And I think that was one of the catalysts for him winning this fight. Sean, needless to say, walked away with the $100,000 fight performance bonus of the night, but his striking was next level. His jabs, unbelievable. He kept jabbing, and he was collecting points. He was collecting so many points just by those jabs. And that jabbing was just like a precursor to show you, essentially what was the outcome of this fight, or what was happening in this fight, was very similar to the fight that was going to happen after between Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios in the ring boxing event that was happening at the T-Mobile Arena. And guys, it was just like a one-sided affair. When Ryan Garcia was fighting Mario Barrios was the odds-on favorite to win that fight. He came in, he was supposed to be a little bit bigger, he's a little bit stronger, and he was also the current WBC welterweight champion of the world and on a win streak. And Ryan Garcia, he's made some very controversial comments, very similar to kind of Strickland. He is kind of like on that fringe of like being kind of off the cuff, as so to speak. But Ryan, make no mistake, Ryan came out and won decisively in a one-sided affair against Mario Barrios. That video that I did actually on these guys was yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, watch it. It was some pretty good intel. But I mean, it was really interesting, very interesting, because I was just shocked. Because watching Strickland and Anthony Hernandez, I'm like, okay, when is Anthony going to start to turn it on? Because whatever Anthony did in the fight was just a little here, a little there, but it wasn't enough to put Sean in any kind of trouble. Sean controlled this fight the whole way through, right? And Hernandez, guys, he's a dangerous grappler. He's the number 4 contender. And everybody thought he was going to test Strickland with his wrestling. But instead, Strickland was stuffing those takedowns, forcing Hernandez to strike, making Hernandez fight a very uncomfortable fight, because it looked like Sean Strickland had more power. He was more aggressive. He even looked bigger. He even looked like he had the longer reach. And he was just breaking Hernandez down with those jabs. Jab after jab after jab. He was wearing and tearing Hernandez down. He was tattooing Hernandez's face with his jabs. It looked like Hernandez a few times was just struggling to breathe a little bit, because he was just getting tattooed in the face so many times. He was just getting confused as to what to do. Nothing he was trying to do against Sean Strickland was working. This is what I call having a plan A, plan B, and a plan C. And it's kind of like the art of war. You walk in with the plan, right? You walk in with the best plan that you have, and then you find out that your opponent is, you start to take on your opponent to the point where you have no more plan anymore because it just all goes to you know what, right? Mike Tyson also says it best. Kind of like a similar take on the quote of Art of War. But Mike Tyson says, look, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And in this case, Anthony was getting tattooed in the face with those jabs, and he had no more plan anymore. He just couldn't figure it out. He couldn't figure it out, right? I mean, Strickland systematically broke down Hernandez to the point where he owned him. I mean, look again, like round one, it was Sean Strickland. Round two, it was still Strickland, but there was moments where Hernandez was trying to mount a comeback, right? He had some competitive exchanges. He did box him a little bit, but nothing to write home about, right? And then in round three, that vicious knee to the body. Oh my gosh, if you saw that, Sean Strickland just boom, tattooed him with his knee right in the sternum. That was it. It was done. Hernandez folded. He folded like a bunch of cupcakes. And then Strickland just swarmed in, knocked him down, ground strikes, grounded pound. Well, he wasn't grounding and pounding, but he was just hitting from the top. And then the referee came in to stop the fight, and it was done. Fastest finish since 2023, guys. It was statement fight, statement win, statement was made. Pure and simple, right? I mean, he had more of the technical supremacy on his side. He had more mental acuity and sharpness. He looked more laser beam focused. And honestly, all of this was a direct call out and direct message to the current champion right now of the division, Khamzat Chimaev. He wants Khamzat. Let's be honest. If Hernandez beats Strickland, then he was probably next up in line for a chance at that belt. But instead, Strickland just eliminated a surging contender and inserted himself into the equation, into the conversation, and now right back into the possibility of the debate swirling around him and Khamzat Chimaev. And by calling him out, guys, calling him out, I mean, there's no theatrics or anything like that. He goes, I want a piece. It's fascinating. Fascinating stuff. Very, very interesting. I mean, Chimaev brings pressure in grappling at a whole different level than Hernandez does. If this was a fight between Chimaev and Strickland, it would have gone completely different way. Now, I'm not insinuating. I'm not making... I'm not predicting. I mean, that's Polymarket's job. But the question, honestly, is quite simple. I mean, like, well, when you look at it, Sean Strickland's got probably one of the best jabs in the sport, okay, in the UFC, and it's a heavy jab. Like, you know, you can't hear it, you can't feel it, you can only see it. And sometimes it doesn't justify it. But if he was hitting a bag, you would be hearing it. Boom, boom, boom. Those jabs were just punishing Hernandez. And that's the kind of jab that frustrates aggressive fighters. Similarly to what, that was very similar to what Ryan Garcia was doing to Mario Barrios. He was just wearing him down with his jab. You know, Lennox Lewis was famous for beating his opponents with just destroying them, breaking them down. The biggest, toughest competitors, you could break them down just by keep jabbing them, and working their body. That's it. That's the secret. And then you go in for your combos. I make it sound so easy, right? But anyways, Strickland recalibrated. And he looked more dangerous than ever. He looked very calm, and and the thing about Strickland in this fight, he was very fluid. If you notice that, very, very fluid. He didn't go there guns a-blazing. He was just very methodical and very strategic. He was tactic, and he wanted to really, he really had a game plan. he had a strategy, and it wasn't going balls to the wall. He went in there. He went in with essentially designed his game plan, and he followed it through to a T. So, like, guys, this is the irony of it all, right? I mean, the most unexpected night of the moment was at the end, where Sean Strickland actually complimented his opponent. And throughout the fight, Sean would go up and just kind of like, tap, Fluffy's glove, and, just kind of like, hey, man, good round, That there's some camaraderie there, right? So that was kind of good sportsmanship. And then at the end, as Sean's talking, he goes, no, come here, Anthony. And he brought him out. He's like, this guy, man, nobody, I mean, he goes, you have some solid boxing, man. Nobody ever told me. And that's probably one of the most shocking developments of all. Because up until their fight, Sean was labeled a lot of things. People were saying a lot of nasty stuff about him being racist, about him being, just chauvinistic, this, that, because he called, he also made some comments about Ronda Rousey coming back, wanting to take on Gina Carano. And he had some interesting comments about the women's division and about that whole Gina and Ronda Rousey fight that's coming down the pipe. And, so there's a lot of people said a lot of nasty stuff about him, and I'm sure he heard it. And a lot of the times these guys, they say things, they do things to sell a fight, to hype up the fight. That doesn't necessarily imply that that's what they're all about. I don't think Sean's a racist at all. All right. Sean works with colored people, guys. I mean, he's not a racist. I've never seen him do anything or say anything so hurtful to somebody's face to make it sound like he's racist, okay? He may say some things that might be a little awkward, say some things that might be a little off the cuff, say some things that might be somewhat questionable at times. But I think he's misunderstood. Sean's a tough mofo, and he brings it every single time. All right. So, I mean, Saturday was just pure chaotic. I mean, it was pure chaotic in the UFC. There was some unbelievable fights. I mean, look, man, this was just pure composure. Strickland didn't chase the chaos, which I loved. He was just, again, he was very methodical, very tactful, and he had a strategy, and he did what he was supposed to do. And now he looks far more dangerous, and he's still the loudest on social media, but he looked far more dangerous than ever. So, I mean, the division, you have to understand, runs through Khamzat Chimaev. So it looks like we might be kind of, potentially seeing this match come to some kind of fruition, because the question comes down to is, did Sean prove enough during his fight against Hernandez to you to say that he deserves a chance at Khamzat Chimaev? Or does he need to fight one more fight before getting that opportunity? I mean, look, guys, I said it again earlier. If the roles were reversed, and if we're in a parallel universe, and if Anthony had beaten Sean Strickland Saturday night, then it would be Anthony's name being discussed in title contention as the next contender for Khamzat's belt. So why not Sean Strickland? So anyways, guys, those are my thoughts. It was very, very interesting. Like, it was a vintage performance from Sean Strickland. He snapped Anthony Hernandez's 8-fight win streak, guys, with the beautiful, beautiful TKO in round number 3. And at 185 pounds, man, this guy is absolutely dangerous. And that night was really good as well, too, because he had Euros Medic in the co-main event. He delivered, guys, this was probably one of the best fights, guys. He delivered such a star-making performance against the veteran welterweight, guys, Jeff Neal, who's 16-8. But, I mean, Euros Medic, who's 13-3, he's so powerful. He's so powerful. It took literally a cracking left hook to the temple to disconnect Neal from the game entirely and from his senses. And guys, within 79 seconds in the opening round, it was over. It was over. All right. And so Strickland, Medic, and Costa, That's another fight. And Jacoby Smith, they all earned $100,000 performance bonuses. UFC Houston was unbelievable, guys. It was a card to be reckoned with. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But anyways, guys, I want to hear your thoughts now on what you think the future is going to be for Sean Strickland. We know Sean wants to fight at the UFC White House. Does Sean get his fight against Khamzat Chimaev, or does he need one more to prove to the UFC, to Dana White, and to the fans all around the world and people who love combat sports that then he gets the opportunity to fight Khamzat Chimaev? Should Khamzat still be champion? So drop your thoughts and comments below, guys. Please smash the like and subscribe and hit the notifications so you guys never miss a beat. And I look forward to catching you guys in the next video.